This video is on how to calculate a limiting reactant and then use that limiting reactant amount to calculate an amount of your product. So we need to define limiting reactant and excess reactant. So if we're talking reactants, we're just talking about before the yield sign, before the arrow. And a limiting reactant, you'll see abbreviated LR, that's usually what I write, limits how much product you can get. Like let's say you're making a recipe and your recipe calls for 2 eggs and 3 cups of sugar, and you look in your cupboard and you have 6 cups of sugar. You think, oh great, I could double the recipe. Well, if you don't have 4 eggs, right, double your amount of eggs, your eggs would limit you. Let's say I only had 3 eggs, my eggs would be my limiting reactant. Excess reactant is then what you have extra of, what you would have left over. Let's see, reactant. Now, it's possible that both your reactants, you could have the exact amounts that will react together, and they'll both get used up, but that very rarely happens. So we can't just look at how much we have and say whatever we have the least amount of, because it has to do with a ratio. If your ratio is 1 to 1, then yes, it is the smaller amount, but it's the smaller amount of moles because the ratios in comparison are always moles. And remember, you get your ratios from your coefficients. So let's do an example. It says calculate the mass of lithium nitride formed from 56.0 grams of nitrogen and 56.0 grams of lithium. Now it doesn't matter that those 2 gram numbers are the same. They could be different. That doesn't matter. That's not going to give us any hints or clues as to which one's limiting us. But these are our 2 reactants, nitrogen and lithium, and they're forming this lithium nitride. So nitrogen and lithium react. So nitrogen plus lithium. And you have to always ask yourself, are they diatomic? Nitrogen is. Making lithium nitride. Remember, lithium is +1. Nitrogen, right, the I is just nitrogen, is -3. So your formula would be Li3N. So now to go and balance this, see, nitrogens are 2 on the reactant side, so 2 on the product side. And then 2 times 3 gives me 6 lithiums, so I need a 6 here. So I'm looking at amounts of 56.0 grams of both my reactants. And the question is, how much product is formed? So just like before, this is a mass-mass problem. The difference is now we have 2 masses we start with, and we got to figure out which one to use. So we're going to convert both to moles. But from there, we're going to convert both to moles of your lithium nitride. And we're going to compare these 2 amounts. These are the 2 that we compare. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the smaller numbers. So of these 2, the smaller number, because we're going to use our ratios to get there, equals the limiting reactant. And then, once we know the limiting reactant, we only use that in calculations. So any calculations would just use your limiting reactant. Okay, so let's do our problem. All right, first we got to convert them both to moles of their same substances and then moles of that lithium nitride. So I'll start with the 56.0 grams of nitrogen. First job is to change grams of nitrogen to moles. There's 1 mole. Grams, nitrogen is 14.01, but it's N2, so that's 28.02. Grams of nitrogen divide out. And then I'm going to get rid of moles of nitrogen. And we're going to convert to moles of lithium nitride. So here's when I look at my coefficients. In front of N2 is 1. In front of the lithium nitride is 2. Alright. So I type this in my calculator. 56 divided by 28.02 times 2. And there are 3 sig digs at the start, but this answer that I'm writing down is not my final answer. So I don't want to round quite yet to 3 sig digs. So I always carry 1 more sig dig than I need when I'm in the middle of a problem. So I'm going to write 3.997. 1 extra sig dig. And that's my moles of lithium nitride. Okay. Or not. Okay. So let's do the same with the 56 grams of lithium. So 56, 0 grams of lithium. All right, grams of lithium to moles, just like above. Lithium, however, is 6.94. Okay, and then we can get rid of moles of lithium. We can go to moles of lithium nitride. So these coefficients, if I go back up, okay, 2 for lithium nitride and 6 for lithium. Okay, so I type this one in my calculator. 56 divided by 6.94 times 2 divided by 6. This one gives me, again, an extra sig dig, 2.690. Now, these are the 2 numbers up here that I circled in blue. These are the 2 numbers. Then I'm going to compare. The smaller one is my product. Remember we said the limiting reactant limits the amount of product. So that means you're going to get less product. That's what limit means, right? Hold it back. So this one is my limiting reactant, which means this nitrogen is in excess. So we can only use the limiting reactant for calculations. So if I asked you to do a different problem, you could not use this to calculate anything. Only this amount. So we have to just finish our problem because it says how many grams. And one more step to do. Moles divide out. Converting to grams. Right, and I add up 3 masses of lithium, so 6.94 times 3. Plus the nitrogen is 14.01. And I get 34.83. So now I type this in my calculator. Now I'm going to go to 3 sig digs. My answer is 93.7. I'm going to write it down here. And that's my grams of lithium nitride. So that's how to calculate and determine a limiting reactant, and then calculate your amount of product after that.